Hi guys, welcome to the FIFA 2026 World Cup highlights. And today I want to talk about pots and groups. Now, in the World Cup 2026, we are seeing many teams compared to other World Cups. So in 2022 and previous years, we've been having 36 teams. But this time round, we saw an increment to 48 teams. What literally happened, and why are we having 48 teams this time around? So this is what happened, guys. So FIFA increased the total number of teams from 36 to 48. So in these 48 teams, guys, we are literally seeing something called pots and groups. So a pot is a unit consisting of or a unit containing 12 teams. Now that means we have pot 1, pot 2, pot 3 and pot 4. And then we have groups, guys. So each group contains 4 teams. So we have team 1, 2, 3, 4 per group. And in pots we have pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, pot 4. So each team contains 12. Each pot contains 12 teams. I want you to understand, guys. So we have 48 teams. And out of the 48 teams, this means we have 4 pots. Out of 48 teams, we have 12 groups. Okay? So in 12 groups, that means each group contains 4 teams. Now, I want to tell you what was the criteria used to classify or to group these teams. Number 1, guys. So I'll be mentioning and explaining. We have 4 criteria that FIFA used to place the teams in their various group. And number 1, guys. So we have the host nation allocation. FIFA World Cup ensured that the host nation allocation criteria. This means that the host nations, this is Mexico, Canada, and USA, they were placed in a manner in which they will be able to play their opening matches in their home grounds, so that to embrace and to ensure they have their moral support from the fans. Now, they were placed in pot 1. So Mexico, Canada and USA will be playing in pot 1. So we have 4 pots. Take that in mind. And as well we have 12 groups. Now, the host nation allocation criteria was used to ensure USA, Canada, and USA, Canada, and USA, Canada, and Mexico play at their home grounds. Okay, that criteria was used to ensure that. So that is criteria number 1. Criteria number 2, we have FIFA World Rankings. This was the criteria number 2. Now, you see, the host nations were placed in pot 1. Now, the FIFA World Rankings also places various teams according to their strength. So from pot 1, the remaining slots in pot 1 were placed, there are teams that were placed in pot 1, the remaining slots in pot 1 downwards. Now that means from pot 1 to pot 4, the energy strength goes from the highest to the lowest. Now FIFA used the world rankings to ensure they place from pot 1 the strength in decreasing manner. That means the teams in pot 4 are not as much as stronger as the teams in pot 1. Put that in mind, guys. So the host nations were given an advantage. They were placed in pot 1 to ensure they play in their home grounds to receive moral support. Now, criteria number 2 was the FIFA World Rankings that placed the rest of the teams in the remaining slots in pot 1 going downwards. So as the strength of the team decreases, they were occupying slot 2, pot 2, pot 3 and pot 4. I hope you understand up to that point. Okay, and then criteria number 3. This is the federation constraints. There is something called federation constraints. Now, what is federation constraint? FIFA was used to bringing more than 16 teams or 16 teams from Europe. Now, this something called federation constraint simply means that the FIFA will balance the teams in Europe to ensure that teams from the same region don't actually lie under the same category or the same group. Now they will have to mix maybe a maximum or a minimum, let's say a minimum of one team from Europe or a maximum of how many teams? Two, to ensure that they balance based on federation constraint. So they will have some African team, some Asian team in there. That is criteria number 3, confederation constraint. Now, they'll not just pick same teams from Europe and then place them in the same group, okay? Now they'll have to mix. If a group consists of many teams from Europe, maybe it will have only 2, but that is a minimum of 1 or a maximum of 2 teams from Europe. That means they have to ensure they consider federation constraints as a criteria in placing those teams. Okay, are we together? Number 4, guys, we have something known as bracket pathways. Bracket pathways. Now, what is bracket pathways in terms of football terms? And this is criteria number 4. So, bracket pathways simply means, or bracket pathways criteria simply means that UEFA or FIFA World Cup Federation actually considered the fact that we have top 4 teams. And when we talk about top 4 teams in terms of trends, we are talking about Argentina, who are the current World Cup holders. And then we are talking about France. Okay, we are talking about Spain. And we are talking about England. Now, these 4 teams, when you hear about the bracket pathways simply means that FIFA groups these teams in a way that England, Spain, France, and Argentina cannot meet until the semi-finals. So in each and every group, every playoff, FIFA ensured that the criteria they use, these 4 teams, the most powerful teams in the history of FIFA World Cup, cannot meet unless they reach the semi-finals. So mark my words, England, Argentina, Spain, and France, these 4 teams will never meet in any playoffs until semi-finals. That is when these teams can meet if they proceed to the semis. Okay, that is the criteria used. So the 4 teams, England, Spain, France, and Argentina, can only meet if they proceed to the semi-final. Otherwise, the criteria used, it was called bracket pathways. The concept of bracket pathways, they were placed in a manner that they were constrained from meeting. So in whatever manner they play, they cannot meet until they reach the semi-finals. That is when England or Spain or France or Argentina can meet. That is the 4 criteria used to place these teams in the FIFA World Cup groups and pots 2026. So I told you guys the pots are 4. So we have pot 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then groups, we have 12 groups, group A to L, group A, group B, group C, group D, group E, group F, group G, group H, group I, J, K, and L. And each of the groups contains 4 teams. And I told you the groups can have a maximum of 2 teams from Europe. So it's either 1 team from Europe or 2 teams maximum. Okay, otherwise they balance. Confederation, where are you from in terms of geographical location? Where are you from? From Africa. They ensure teams from Africa don't actually play amongst themselves, and they balance. So each group contains some teams with overall strength going downwards. That is how FIFA classified or grouped the teams this year, guys. So it is the FIFA World Cup rankings or World Cup group configuration or group placement, and they were placed in pots and groups as well. So I hope you understand the concept how the thing goes. I hope you understand the concept how the things goes, okay? And I will paraphrase, guys, to just ensure you understand, because my main idea about this is so that you understand, because many people are asking what was the criteria used to place these teams in their several pots and groups. And I told you guys, number one, it was the host nation allocation. So the host nations were given some advantage in which they were placed in a manner in which they can play in front of their fans to give them morale, okay? And that is number one. And as well, they were placed in several groups, especially I can tell you, for example, Mexico was placed in group A, and as well we have USA. USA is in group D, okay? And then we have Canada. Canada is in group B, okay? So you see how they group these things. And number two, I told you the criteria number two used, it was the FIFA world rankings in terms of men football. So men football rankings, the FIFA world, they actually put the teams with a high strength in the remaining slots in pot one going downwards. So as the strength was diminishing, they ensured they placed the remaining teams in the pots, okay? And criteria number three was the confederation constraint. I told you what it literally means. So it means in terms of geographical location. So teams from England, especially not teams from England, teams from Europe as a continent, teams from Africa as a continent, so they ensured that each and every group have that balance, okay? So we have some teams from Europe, maybe one or a maximum of two, depending on the numbers, because this time round the teams are a bit many, guys. And yeah, of course, factor number four, it was the bracket pathways. And this literally means they were constraining the four powerful teams. And I told you this is France, this is England, this is Argentina and Spain. So they were doing something called bracket. They bracketed them so that these teams have no chance of meeting unless they meet in the semis, okay? So each team, when they play their cards so well, they play their cards so well, so the teams that are categorized that the only point they can meet, this is when they reach the semis. So they did this to ensure balance, so everybody has a fair play. That is what they actually did, so that no strong team can be eliminated in the group stages, okay? No strong team can be eliminated in the quarterfinals or something. So this is the sweetness of football, my good people. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, I think I've answered your question on what is the criteria used by FIFA to place the teams in their pods. And of course, you have the answers. Thank you so much, my good people. Subscribe, like, share. This is Masterma. Until next time, let's meet on the FIFA updates, because so soon I'll be giving you the player profiles, and as well I will be giving you guys the team lineups, okay? So team lineups zinakuja soon, very soon. I'll be giving you the team lineups, and as well statistics, because FIFA inaanza date 11 of June. So hope to see you there, guys. Until next time, subscribe, like, share. We out.